Hi everyone, aloha. I was told that the live stream got changed a little bit, so I am coming on here. This was supposed to be done in my group page, but I decided to do it on my personal page because I have a lot of new people, a lot of new faces, a lot of new people that have just recently friend requested me and vice versa. So I wanted to hop on here and get to know all of you guys. To those of you that do not know me, my name is Marina, and I'm an intuitive business mentor and business strategist, and I help individuals find out their specific strategy, their specific sales prowess, as I call it, that is not like anybody else, come up with unique offers and unique products in order to create sales now. So today I'm actually talking about exactly this topic of what exactly do you need in order to create sales right away in your business. Is it your offer? Is it your audience? What should you be focusing on first, and at what point in your business should you give one or the other more attention? I'm going to share this into my group real quick, and I'm going to invite some people in who RSVP to this. In the meantime, as you're hopping on, please say hi so I can greet you, so I know who you are. I'm going to go ahead and invite some individuals, like I said, and share this to my group to make sure that they see this. Hi, Jasmine. I see you. Whoever is on here, please say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. Like I said, there's a lot of new people on my page and in my group, and I want to make sure that I greet you and that I get to know you. If you have any questions right off the bat, please let me know and share to my group. Just a second. Share to group. Okay. Hey Jasmine, do you have any questions about this topic before I hop in? If you have any questions, let me know. Tell me where you're watching from as you're popping on. If you're watching the replay, say replay. Feel free to greet me. Or if you have questions during the replay, you can also pop them in here as well, and I'll come back and answer them. Okay, which should I do first to create sales in my business? When should I focus on one or the other? One or the other. This is going to be super interactive, and I want this to be super educational for you guys. So if you have a notepad and you want to take some notes, so you know which one to focus on at the beginning of your business, which one to focus on as you get some sales. And where are we? So Jasmine is here. There's a few people that wanted to be here that I just wanted to make sure that they get this information before I hop in. Those of you that are hopping on, please say hello. There's a lot of new people that I have on my page, and I want to greet you. I want to get to know you. So we have Jasmine. I know you're here. Paula wanted to be here. Sorry, you guys. Like I said, I just want to make sure that the individuals that wanted to be here are here. Paula. All right. Jasmine. Yulia. Couple more people. Jacques. What a beautiful name. Jacques. Sarah, Andy. Okay, Sarah and Andy. Sarah. Sorry, just two more people, you guys. Thank you for bearing with me. Like I said, I just want to make sure this information gets out to those of you that requested it specifically. All right, Sarah and Andy. All right. Yet again, to those of you that don't know me, hi, what's up? My name is Marina, and yet again, I'm an intuitive business mentor and intuitive business strategist. I help individuals come up with their own unique strategy, their own unique sales prowess, as I call it, because we all sell in a different way, even though we're all sales geniuses. And a lot of people have been taught system after system after system about how to start their business, which is why this question popped up in the first place of what do I focus on, offer or audience? When many people start working with coaches, they get told to develop their audience, to start developing the know, like, and trust factor, to start relating with people and networking with people online, to start doing all of these things to go on LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm even getting out of breath of all of these things that people get told, to build up an audience, right? And it creates a lot of frustration for people because then they feel like they're spinning their wheels before they ever start serving their clients with their amazing sacred work that they do, or transformational work or service-based work, whatever it is that you do. And this information that I'm going to share with you applies to you if you're a service-based entrepreneur, whether you are, a spiritual healer, whether or not you're a coach or a consultant, whether you are a website designer. And this will apply whether you are at the beginning or have already created sales, of what to focus on, and how to optimize your focus on offer versus audience. That's what I'm going to go into today. Can you guys tell I'm caffeinated? I'm like, but okay. So the problem. Let me point out the problem. When you first start, and a lot of people that come to me and to work with me, what has happened is they have gone through coach after coach, healer after healer, consultant after consultant that have taught them a system to create this know, like, and trust factor, to start networking with people, to start, developing their Facebook group, to start developing their Instagram audience and all of the hashtags, to start cold messaging people on LinkedIn and pretend they like them and being friends and pretend to be interested or whatever. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's nuts what people get told. I just got a client who has 6,000 people in her audience and has never been taught how to sell. And I'm like, that's nuts. I have a group of like 200 people and I'm making like 5 figures monthly. Like, it's really okay. And, am I growing my audience? Of course. However, you probably see where this is heading, where a lot of people get taught all of these things. And what unfortunately happens is, by the time that you create your audience, you create, your amazing group of people, here's what happens. These people, A, perhaps are not your ideal client. B, you don't even know what it is that you're selling. Then you're not confident in your abilities. So then you start chasing spiritual healers to help you with your sense of self-worth because you wonder why the money's not coming in because you're doing all the things. Why is nobody buying, right? Then you have perhaps messages of people that want to collaborate with you or think you're super inspirational and they're your biggest fans, but they never want to whip out the credit card. Or they, or you're just like overwhelmed because you have to manage all of these relationships now and you have to manage these dynamics that don't actually end up going anywhere. Can you pitch these people? Of course. Can you potentially change that dynamic? Of course. And as somebody who teaches people sales, it is a little bit harder to reestablish a dynamic that you have established. Say you're like, okay, I'm developing the know, like, and trust factor because I want to be liked, right? I want to appear like genuine in these people's faces. So then you get told also to share like your stories of vulnerability or something. Share your stories of triumph, of how you have overcome certain struggles, how you have, prevailed a certain thing in your life, and that's supposed to be your selling point, which, yes. And here is the problem in that. A lot of people, yet again, end up seeing you as an inspiration, end up seeing you as, somebody they're like, oh my God, I really love your story, and they become your biggest fans. However, yet again, they never buy. And this is usually if you are at the beginning stages of the business or if you have sold before. But if you have been told by coach after coach to start with the audience first, these are the kinds of problems you're probably running into now. Because, okay, now you have people and you don't know what to do with them. You don't know what you're selling and you're not confident. So then what happens, right? And I know this because it happened to me. I know this because it has happened to other people that I have worked with. Then they go chase the spiritual healers because they're like, I have money blocks. I have ancestral money trauma. Like, I did all the things. I spent like 20 grand on coaches. What the hell? So then, you're traumatized, you're sad, you're upset. You're like, what the hell? Like, this is never going to work for me. I suck. Sorry. So then you go, chasing the spiritual side, which yet again, for most people, they get taught yet another system of like, you need to heal your money blocks. You need to look at your human design chart. You need to look at your astrological sign and how you market. You need to look at your relationships because you're not being masculine enough. You're not being feminine enough. Yet another system, right? And the biggest thing that has been missed in this approach, and the reason why I say this is because I've gone through this myself. It took me like 2 years. 2 years, you guys, going to the strategy school of doing, developing an audience, never selling, getting on discovery calls and getting 1,000 no's. Well, I didn't get 1,000 no's. I probably had maybe like 15 or 20 discovery calls before my first sale. And what has changed was for me, and I'll get to that, but hold on. What happens is whenever you go to yet another spiritual mentor is you get yet another system. You get yet another system of what has worked for them and how they have built their business, but they don't know your guys' context. They don't know that perhaps you already have an audience and they are not sure why you're not selling, because spiritual healers have never been taught sales or business. They have been taught how to heal you. They have been taught how to heal your emotional stuff and your energetic stuff. Is it all coalesced together? Yes, absolutely. And the reason why you're having these problems is simply because they haven't been done in the right order, and because there's been one biggest thing that has been overlooked in your entire coaching journey, and that is you. That is you and how you sell, how you market, what kind of strategies work for you, how you best interact with people, and what is it that you're selling in the first place, right? When you first start, sharing your stories of triumph without having the backing of what is me, what are my gifts, how can I serve another human being, and how can I solve another human being's problem? When you start to answer those questions, sales become a walk on the street. True story, funny story, crazy story. One of my third sale was a $5,000 pay in full sale, and that was sitting at a kombucha bar. So this was not online. This had nothing to do with my audience whatsoever. What did that have to do with? How did this even happen? Was the fact that I was so certain in how I could solve a specific problem for a person that by the time this person appeared in front of me, I just started talking about what I do and how I do it. And my confidence level was showing like through the roof. The conversation ended up leading to her asking me like, hey, can we talk about this? I really need your help. Okay, so you can see that at the beginning, and this is my way and how I teach this, at the beginning, especially even if you have created a sale or two before, it is my biggest belief that you do need to start with your offer first. And here's why. It's almost like you've created a business plan and you opened up a donut shop and you got people so excited. You're like, hey, everyone who loves donuts. And people are like, oh my God, yes, hook me up with some donuts, right? So they line up at the door, and say you discover later on that you make really epic sugar donuts. And you have an audience full of people who like chocolate Boston cream or something like that. Do you see how like creating the hype doesn't really do anything for your business? Because now you have a full line out the door of chocolate donut lovers, and what you've discovered is you like sugar, or that you really are really good at making sugar donuts or whatever. I hope this is making sense for you guys. This is a funny analogy. I'm gonna go into next as far as offer creation and also how to optimize that, and also at what point do you need to focus on your audience and how to, in order to optimize your sales, maximize your sales, and create better relationships with the people that are now in your audience, and how to leverage your audience if you have started with, creating your audience first, but you've never been taught how to sell. So to those of you that are watching, sorry, just a second, I'm getting texted. Okay, just a second. Okay, so to those of you that are watching, is this making sense for you? Do you have any questions? Have you had any kind of these problems, like people approaching you for collaborations only? Have you had coaches tell you, to do all of the things and start your audience and do your branding and the website without any kind of foundational backing about what it is that you're selling, without filling your donut shop with donuts first? Have any of you guys been told that? Have any of you guys have gone through that journey? And to those of you that have you gone to the spiritual and the intuitive side and still are getting no sales because the energy work is still not helping you? How many of you guys can relate to that? Or if you have any questions about anything that I have just mentioned, let me know so I can answer that. Or if you have no questions, say no more questions so I could keep going about the importance of and how to create a killer offer, and then go into sales and marketing and audience relationships. I don't see any comments. I'm trying to see if this is just like Facebook or if you guys don't have any comments. Let's see. I'm not seeing any comments. Okay, I'm going to keep going on the offer aspect. Keep going. No questions yet. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So, offer creation. So, in my line of work, one of the first things that we do with my clients is start off with the process immediately. Start off with their unique signature framework. Because before you get into business, a business is a transaction, right? A business is a business is solving another human's problem, whether it be with a product or a service. So before you start creating an audience or your marketing plan, you do need to know what you are selling. And I am getting texted like crazy. So in order to do that, one of the things that I take my clients through is go through taking inventory of everything that they are, everything that they have done before, the things that they have sold before, and going on this kind of like gifts and brilliance scavenger hunt, if that makes sense. We literally take inventory of everything that they are, whether it would be their past corporate background and their mastery from that, what kind of skills have they learned from that, whether it would be their intuitive gifts of clairaudience, clairvoyance, sentience, whatever, because they're a Reiki healer or something like that, whether it would be their knowledge about horticulture. One of my clients is very much into plants. Okay, so we take inventory of everything that they have done, everything that they are, everything that they have done before, and compile it all into like, okay, what is it that we have to work with? What is it that you do really well? What is it that other people reflect to you really well? We also go on a scavenger hunt if they have sold before, of what is it that they sold and what kind of feedback have they gotten from their audience? What kind of feedback have they gotten from the people that they have facilitated before? Because this is also yet another spot to look if they're like completely clueless. They're like, I don't know what my gifts are. I don't know what I'm good at. I'm just me. So everybody needs a reflector, right? And this is why we have coaches and mentors, is because we all have blind spots and there's certain things that we can't see. So we really compile everything together in order to create something like a product that is very unique for them. Kind of like that sugar donut that I was talking about. So it's not just a shop filled yet with another, chocolate Boston cream or whatever. So once we do that, we go into creating a framework by using actual humans as an example and how they're going to move through that. Because in order to charge several $1,000s for your offer, you can't just be like, oh, it's going to be, 6 Zoom calls over 6 weeks and then Voxer and there's my offer. No, like you're not going to sell that. You really need to know, how is somebody going to move through it, right? So that what we do next is we create essentially a journey. Okay, we compile everything that they are and everything that they have, and then we compile a journey from that. Like, okay, so you're really confident in, seeing the vision of somebody's future. You're really confident in planning and organizing. You are really confident in, say, for instance, bookkeeping. You're really confident in designing websites. Okay, awesome. Cool. Let's put that as, phase one of what you're going to do. And that's how we create the offer. Okay, after this phase, after you see into somebody's future, what's going to happen next? How is this person going to react to that? What are some possible consequences and side effects of this phase one? What are they going to need next from you in order to move through this journey as smoothly as possible and as quickly as possible for them to reach their goal? Okay, does this make sense for you guys? Let me know if this is making sense for you guys. I'm not seeing comments. I don't know if this is just like a delay on Facebook, but I will wait or I will keep going. Yes, perfect. I'll take that as it makes sense. Amazing. And I think is Padma Wangmo. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I think I met you at another group a couple of days ago. Your name is really cool, and you like went into the description as to what your name means, which means like a powerful woman, which is awesome. So nice to meet you. I'm so glad that you got a chance to catch me live. Like I said, I have a lot of new friends on my personal page, and I love interacting with you guys. So anyway, offers, right? Cool. So once we go and do that and compile everything, just whatever it is that they're confident in, right? And compile it in a way, in like a scavenger hunt way of essentially kind of like an artist, take an inventory of what colors do I have? What kind of canvas am I working with? What's the lighting today in order for me to paint this landscape? Perfect. I'm happy that you're here. So, like you're compiling all of your creation materials essentially. And each one of these creation materials is different for every single person. The kind of clients that I work with, I had a birth doula before. I have spiritual, healers and individuals. I have horticulture specialists, other, motivational speakers and authors. And these processes that I have developed, you guys, they work across industries. I worked with people in real estate, and they work across industries. The other thing that I add specifically is my own intuitive gifts, right? Of what I see them in their most magnetic state. Like, okay, that's going to be Sheena. Hey, Sheena. Okay, yeah, for sure. Come on back if you have any questions. So, like I said, once we develop this offer and once we develop that kind of foundation, what we do is essentially do like a run through, okay, of like, how is somebody going to move through this? And we create a loose outline, because then at this point, this allows you to speak to an individual's problem. This allows you to speak to an individual's movement through an offer. This allows you to have material to connect with others and to market upon. This allows you to have backing and confidence in the things that you are confident in the things that you offer specifically, because you know what your product is, you know what you're selling, and you know how to move somebody through their specific problem, right? So once you have that, now you can go start networking. Now you can go start speaking to people. And the kind of marketing that I teach people, I don't teach my clients marketing per se. Okay, I don't teach my clients audience building per se. What I teach them is, now after you have done this kind of legwork of creating a product, of creating your sugar donut or Boston cream or whatever it might be, once you have that, you now have backing to speak to somebody upon. And you now have the gift of discernment that whenever you are speaking to somebody, it's not just going to be like, oh, where's this conversation going to go? Are they just going to ask me to collaborate? Because now you know exactly how they're going to move through your journey. And you're going to be confident enough to be like, oh my gosh, just got home from urgent care. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Paula. I hope you're okay. There's been so much weird collective stuff happening, weird, fear and just heavy energies. So once you have had that developed, now you can go and connect with people in this kind of a confident way, and you know that you can solve their problems. So this is what happened with me and the girl at the kombucha bar. It was uncanny. Here's the other thing too, of those of you that are into energy and manifestation, that, and this is something that has happened as well with my clients, is once you create this kind of a journey, you literally put it into existence. You put out this person that you have imagined going through this journey, you have visualized the entire journey that they're going to go through into existence. And what starts to happen is these people start to appear in your life with those exact problems. And that's what happened to me and the girl at the kombucha bar. I literally just had finished my offer. I literally had just finished my process, and it was specifically for an individual like her. It was for somebody who had gone through so many intuitive and spiritual schools of thought and has never been taught how to translate it, how to sell it, how to package it, nothing. So that's the offer that I had originally created. And what had happened was, it was not even a few days after it. I was sitting at the kombucha bar. I was like in a super happy mood. And we just started chatting, and she literally essentially like blurted out the problems that she was having. She's like, yeah, I've had all these ideas, but I can't compile them. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of spiritual individuals have so many gifts, and they could be, charging thousands of dollars for their transformational work. And they don't know how to package it up so they could sell it. Sorry, I'm like getting so texted right now. They don't know how to package it up and sell it. She's like, oh my God, who are you? I have been waiting for you my whole entire life. I literally, simply what I did in that conversation is I had taken this problem that I knew that she had, that then I created the journey for, and understood so deeply, especially after taking her on a journey on paper, in my mind, in my imagination, and in market research. If you are at the beginning stages, I highly recommend doing market research. To like really know her words and really know like her pain of like, I have so much over here and over here, but I can't put it out here, and I can't charge money for it. And here I go, just blurting that out to her, and boom, that's when she asked me for this sale. So the reason why I mentioned this story is not to brag, but I mentioned this story as to show you how easy sales can become once you are so grounded in this thing that you offer. Once you have taken yourself through this process of heavy lifting, of taking this, either imaginary or an actual person on this journey. And once you have created this kind of a journey for them, and know deeply in your mind, in your heart, in your everything, that you can solve their problem, and you know that you're doing it in your specific way, because remember, you have taken inventory of everything that you are, not just like, oh, they're going to need this and they're going to need this, but more from the space of like, what am I confident in? Okay, I'm confident in clairvoyance. So I'm going to start this offer by seeing their big vision and intuitively presenting them with a compass. Cool, awesome. What kind of a reaction might they have to that? They might be, doubtful. They might have fears. They might have resistances. So the next session I'm going to do is overcoming resistances, because I'm confident in doing that, right? Do you see how easy that can happen, and how confident you become whenever you go through this hypothetical journey in creating the offer? And then when it comes to relating to your audience, it becomes super easy, because then you have marketing material about, I see your big vision and I know how to bring it into existence. I know you're going to have resistance about it, and don't worry, I'll guide you through that. After that, I can help you translate it. I can help you organize it from my corporate background, because I'm really good at organizing. So I could help you organize your thoughts. And then, because I used to, let's say I used to do bookkeeping, I can help you organize your budget on how to create this, offer, and how to create this business in a very viable and affordable way, or something like that. Do you see how it's a combination, a coalescence of everything you're comfortable in, as well as knowing their pain really deeply, and being able to guide them on this kind of pre-designed process? It's almost like knowing that, hey, they really like sugar donuts, and I just made the most amazing custom sugar donut for them with my own specialty and my own unique touch on it. Okay? So this is something that I start with my clients. And this is something that I feel very passionate about, because I love putting processes on things, and I love taking people on these journeys and using my gift of empathy and using my gift of clairvoyance and future visioning for my clients in order to help them create these kinds of offers that are going to sell really easily. Because it has to be something that comes from them. Like one of my clients recently, she had spent close to 6 figures on coaching, where she had gone through the systematic schools of that, like I said at the beginning, where they told her to build the audience, build the connection. So she built her audience to like 20,000 followers on Instagram. And a lot of them were not even her ideal clients. They just saw her as an inspiration. And then she went to the spiritual coaches that never told her either how to leverage her audience, and never taught her how to sell. And they were telling her that she can't sell to this audience because she's a Muslim woman. And they're like, yeah, no, those people are broke and they're oppressed and they're never going to buy from you, which is a hunk-of-dory load of bullshit. And so what we had created was like, wow, you're really great at publishing and writing books, because she was like a bestseller author. She got published several times now. And I'm like, why not? She was like, I'm really actually excited about having, book co-authorship. And not a single coach has ever like even looked there. People have told her that she should do relationship or healing because she's gone through trauma, but they have never taken the full inventory of everything that she is in order to develop this kind of offer. So now she's booked 3 sales in the last 15 days, which is pretty amazing, and finally got a return. They were $2,500 each, which is freaking awesome, especially after having spent 6 figures on coaching and never having been seen, and never having been really seen for who she is, and never been taught how to leverage her audience, and never been taught how to create an offer from her unique gifts, from her unique brilliance, from the things that actually excite her, right? Because that is what sells. Is this making sense for you guys? Feel free to pop in questions about anything that I have mentioned. Now I'm going to talk about if you have sold, and if you do have audience and clarity around your message and audience that are potentially your ideal clients, of how to optimize this now and how to scale. But before I go on, I want to see if you guys have any questions. I'm just going to look real quick on here, because they changed the Facebook Live. Okay, so if you have sold before, and if you have an audience of people that can be potentially your ideal clients of what to do now, one of the things that I suggest is the route of entrepreneurship is all about creativity and resourcefulness. And we get taught so much. This makes so much sense. Good. We get taught so much to like look far and wide and market out there, and not get taught to like look at the people right around us, whether to use them as a resource for referrals, use them as a resource for networking, use them as a resource for potential sales and clients, because they're right next to you. Okay? Because a lot of us get taught to market out there, and we create this kind of almost like cognitive dissonance of like who these clients are who will pay 10 grand for my package when they could be literally 20 yards away from you. And true story, like I said, I had a full pay sale from a kombucha bar of somebody that happened to sit right next to me. And this is possible for every single one of you. Okay, this is so possible for every single one of you. So the next optimization phase of this would be to optimize your audience relations, to leverage whatever you have in your audience right now. And this is something that I'm really great at, is crafting custom pitches and custom approaches to the individuals in your audience now, and how to leverage everything that you have in your audience now. It's almost kind of like, this is going to sound bad, but low-hanging fruit. Like you have to reach for that first instead of, reaching far and wide, because otherwise you're just spinning your wheels. Like, you want sales now. Like, why are you reaching so far and wide? Does that make sense? So the next, hi Kira. Oh my gosh, the love bomber is back. I love love it, Kira. It's so good to see you. It's been a while. I knew you by the hearts. Oh my gosh. Kira, I think you'd really love this video. It might really help you. I would really recommend, watching the replay because it really highlights a lot of the problems that people have had of investing into, strategic and then spiritual coaches and still not getting results, and as to why. So I go into that and how to solve that pretty much bit by bit. The love bomber, yep. So after you have done the heavy lifting that I have talked about, the next step, like I said, scaling. And scaling is not necessarily making more people in your audience appear, but it's creating more custom tailored approaches. And that's something that I do for every single one of my clients that approaches me, because I work with a variety of industries. I have mentioned before that I don't niche because of my intuitive gifts and because the way that I do things, that I create these kinds of offers and processes and journeys for people because of my gift of future visioning. And that's something that I do, is like I channel people's strategies like right there on the spot. So, like for those of you who perhaps, you should definitely watch this. It's going to be awesome for you, Kira. So for those of you that, have sold and have had an audience of what to do next, there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. Is either creating a lower ticket offer to see what are people, wanting. Is either creating a higher ticket offer that's more customized and specific to a certain individual in your audience, especially now that you have had time to see how your work affects others. Almost like a run through, like your first run through, right? To see like how a client will respond to the offer that you have created. And more often than not, those of you that work with me, you'll see that it's pretty spot on and on the dot, just because of my inherent gifts and how I go ahead and help you make these processes. But what happens after that, like I said, you either go into selling higher ticket or creating a lower ticket to serve more people. And that's some of the ways that you can scale. However, the audience building is something that should be easy and happens really naturally after you have developed an amazing process that develops amazing results for people. That audience building it is not your first priority, and it's something that happens naturally and organically, because then what you will start to see, your audience building can get offline. It can get off social media. That's what happens to me now. I talk to people all the time that are my leads for my other businesses now. I have had 3 business expansions in the last 3 weeks, so I'm rocking and rolling. And so, that any potential conversation can be a sales conversation, that building an audience does not really become any longer your focus, because like who cares if there's another person there, just whatever. Not I love you guys, but you know what I mean, because there's always a person that you're conversating with who could potentially be your next sale, or your next sale for your affiliate sales if you're part of any other affiliate marketing things. That's where the scaling goes if you do it this way. And it's actually what happens, it becomes a lot more pleasurable. You spend a lot less time online. You spend a lot more time serving your individuals that you're working with. You spend a lot more time in your zone of genius. And then you really start to take inventory to have sustainable scaling, to outsource the things that you hate. Like if you no longer want to deal with payment processors, you hire a VA. This is what happens at this stage because you can. So you end up actually buying yourself more time. Your marketing becomes pleasant. You become more stoked on your work because you see your clients moving through that and they're stoked to be with you. And then you develop also client loyalty. So you develop sustainability that way because your clients keep renewing with you, right? So these are the kinds of things that are possible, and they're completely different than what is taught right now in the coaching industry, meaning like, oh, build a funnel, build a website, which is all great, and I'm not against it. I'm definitely not against it. However, there are different ways to make your business be your identity, where it's not separate from you, because everything that you do you're naturally good at, and you just spread the word because you're so confident in it. And it's not this like separate thing that you just go online and you do the Facebook thing and then you go off to your husband or whatever. No, it just becomes part of you, that in a grocery store, if somebody asks you what you do, you're like, yeah, I'm a sexual healer and I help people with their sexual trauma, and then they make a bunch of money and their relationship gets great. And the people at the grocery store be like, what? Who the hell are you? Give me your business card. Right? And then you don't have to go post a million times on Facebook, because you may have gotten yourself a client that way. I've gotten prospects before at parties, you guys, like sitting in a hot tub, in a clothing optional hot tub, mind you. That was fun. So, like it just becomes you, and it becomes your life. And then you don't have to worry about coming up with, unique marketing strategies or whatever, although that's part of the process and you do need it. And that's something that I'm really good at helping you channel, so that you're not just spending time doing all of the things. Because here's the other thing that, has gone wrong, if you will. Not to demonize and polarize whatever is going on out there, because it has worked for some people and that's great. But you get taught a lot of marketing strategies that perhaps are not in line with your personality. Say you're like super introverted and you get told to do live streams. That's not going to work with your natural thing, right? Say you really actually hate being online and you would rather go do workshops and educate people and touch humans and hug them. Like that's a way to market. And most coaches don't put that into your strategy or channel that for you. Or say, for instance, you really like graphics and you really love Instagram, and you get told to go on LinkedIn because you want to work with the corporate folk or whatever the fuck, and it's like, as if corporate people don't hang out on Instagram, there's a lot of myths essentially that I help like unfuck for people and dispel, because we do things backwards. I recently realized I need to focus on expressing my authenticity, and got 2 new clients from sharing a channeled writing practice that I started just as my own personal practice. Kira, so I would recommend watching this video from the start, because I'm not sure what your like current sales thing is and how you're doing on sales, but this is something that I addressed at the beginning of the video, that while sharing yourself authentically is great, if you don't have a product to sell, and if you're not confident in what it is that you're selling and how to translate it to another human being, then it will create confusion. And then people that will look at you, they'll be like, oh, thanks for sharing your truth. Oh my God, you're beautiful. Let's collaborate sometime. And then you'll be like, well, shit, like, what the hell? Nobody sees my brilliance. So it's great. And it has to go in line with the problem that you're solving for an individual, right? Because people are selfish. And the way that they'll buy is if they know that you can solve their problem, is if they know, like, whenever they hear and see you reading, or writing something that's authentically coming from you, that they feel this connection enough to be like, oh my God, I'm sitting on the toilet and I'm scrolling my Facebook and I needed to stop scrolling now because this woman has the answers to my life, because she's been able to connect with me on a deep level in this authentic way that you're speaking of, and to communicate to them that you can solve their problem, right? So, and yeah, of course, whenever you like authentically share that kind of experience, it becomes so much more intimate. And then you're not, marketing outwards. You're marketing to an individual's like very, very close to the heart, like pain point. So of course you're going to get, people reaching out to you. And in order to have that become more consistent and have that be more of a foundation, it only worked because I had already begun building my platform for my program. I was tying it back to the posts. Exactly. Yeah. Because a lot of people get taught to market very outwardly rather than, directly to another human, because that's all it is, and that's how you build an audience. That's how you build immediate connection. So it is my grandest and biggest philosophy, and that's what I teach, that it's not about the quantity of your audience, but it's about the quality of your interactions and your ability to empathically understand another human, because that's what sales is, and your ability to empathically like future vision it enough to create a very unique solution for them, based on you, based on the things that you're comfortable in and confident in. And that's what creates the sales. So I do have a client call coming up here in 15 minutes, so I want to hang out and see if any of you guys have any questions. In the meantime, if you have experienced all of the above things and are wanting to get my magic on your business of creating that kind of foundation, of creating, easy sales and not have you market all over and do, a million live streams if that's not what you feel like doing, of creating audience and connections. If you want sales like yesterday, then we need to talk, because there's a couple of issues that might be going on, that there's not a product that you're selling and people don't really look at you as an authority figure. People just look at you as an inspiration, and they want to collaborate and they want to be your friend and they think that you're amazing. But in order to shift that dynamic, a few things need to happen. You really need to develop your product, and that's for any business. Whether you're service-based or product-based, you need a product to sell. Like if you're Nike, you need a shoe to sell, right? Or whether or not you're a website designer, you need a website package. If you're a transformational coach, you need a transformational package and a specific problem that you can solve, and you need to know how you do that. Whether it be with your clairvoyance, whether it would be with your bubbly personality, whether it would be with your planning genius. Each one of you can solve different problems in such unique ways. And this is something that I do with my clients, is I help you pull that out and put it into an offer. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any questions and are shy, you're welcome to PM me and ask me them privately. I love talking to you guys. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask now, please feel free to drop them in the comments. And thank you all for joining, whoever was here. I hope you enjoyed this live stream and got a lot of value out of it. Or say no more questions. And I look forward to talking to you guys more. If you have additional questions of how I can help you do this and how I can help you, make that first 5K or 10K, or how I can help you make that high ticket offer that sells at the kombucha bar, because a lot of you have been taught, do this and do that, and have never really been taught, like, how can I sell myself like now? How can I leverage everything that I have right now? Then we need to talk. Definitely need to talk. Thank you. You're so welcome, Jasmine. I'm going to hang out for just one more minute and then I'm going to log off if nobody has any additional questions. I'm going to check real quick on here to make sure I'm not missing any. And if you're watching the replay, like I said, pop them in. Okay, not seeing it. All right, you guys, much aloha to everybody who was on here. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.